Good morning, everyone. Welcome. It is once again time for our next live scanning session. It is October 26th already. Wow. And this is already our third live scanning session. It's been so much fun. And yes, I think we're going to make this a very regular thing. And I think the timing of it is also very interesting because what we're planning on doing today, and basically in every of our live scanning sessions, is to prepare for the week ahead. So what better time for that than the weekend? Because we have time, the markets are closed, everything is in, the scanner is updated. Perfect timing to plan for the week ahead. All right, but before we get started, let me ask you a question, guys. Where are you calling in from? So, as you may see behind me, I'm back in our office. So, I'm back from Brazil. And of course, today, I hope we have a much more stable internet connection than last time. But yeah, so I'm back. We are back here in Montreal. But where are you guys calling in from? Please put your location into the Q&A box. John from Austin, Texas. Sunny day here. Awesome. Yeah, we also actually have a sunny day here in Montreal, but probably a much colder day than in Texas. Chris from Sonoma County, wine country, California. Awesome. Salvador from Sweden. Where in Sweden, Salvador? Where are you calling in from? Masoud from Canada. Where in Canada, Masoud? Montreal, maybe? Frank from Den Haag. Yes, I can guess your location. John from, hey, John, how's it going? Good to see you. From Pennsylvania. Joseph from Victoria, British Columbia. I heard it's very beautiful there. Awesome. Gustavo from Argentina. Oh my goodness. That's amazing. Wow. I think that's the first time we have somebody from Argentina in our room. Wow, that's awesome. Hey, Gustavo, nice to have you. Tobias from Germany. Where about in Germany, Tobias? Michael from New York City. Nice. Greg from Raleigh, North Carolina. Masuda, Toronto. Okay, not too far away from here. 6 hours from Montreal. This is where we are based from. Cam from Miami. Wow, this must be nice and nice and sunny. Zinsheim, Tobias. Okay, nice. And Connecticut, KM. Awesome. Wow, great, guys. A truly international crowd once again. And, it is so special to us that you take time out of your weekend to join our webinars and our sessions. That really means the world to us. And when I say us, I mean our entire team at Trading Indicators. So my name is Daniel. I'm the guy here on the left-hand side. But today we also have Homa with us. Homa is my business partner. We built this company from the ground up about 10 years ago. We started. It's been quite a journey. And of course, we also have Nicholas with us today, and they are going to be looking out for your questions in the chat room. And yeah, if you guys have questions, please don't be shy. And for those of you who are joining us for the very first time, a quick introduction of what we do. So as our name suggests, we are building trading indicators primarily. So that used to be our bread and butter. And over the years, we've built hundreds, almost thousands of trading indicators for clients all over the world. But now, of course, we're also building scanners. And today's session will be about our brand new Liquidity View scanner. And as you will see, it is really unique in what it does. And actually, it is quite effective and insightful to find interesting high reward and low risk setups. All of the setups that we're going to consider today are based on what's called technical analysis, which is basically a pattern analysis of your price chart. We believe that fundamental information is almost immediately priced in. And by analyzing your price chart, you will indirectly also take into account fundamental information. We believe that trading should be simple, and trading is simple, but you need to know what to look for and what's important on your chart and what perhaps would be considered as noise and not so important. And this is exactly what we are going to do today. All right. So, and of course, teamwork is everything. Trading should not be a lonesome activity. It should be a team activity where we can bounce off ideas. And one mission of this session is to share with you what we are considering as important and perhaps get some feedback from you guys. So if you guys have any questions or suggestions, don't be shy. The more suggestions we get, the more feedback we get, the more interesting this session is going to be. All right. So, and one last reminder, that trading, of course, does contain substantial risk and therefore is not suited for every investor. If you trade, make sure to only use risk capital, which is capital that you actually can afford to lose. When it comes to backtest performance, or also called hypothetical performance, keep in mind that this is not necessarily indicative of future performance, and any trade ideas and setups discussed in this webinar should not be construed as trade advice. These are for informational purposes only. All right, so with this out of the way, let's see what we have in store today. Well, we are going to use our Liquidity View dashboard to find, and I can promise you, we're going to find some really interesting ones. I had a little sneak peek earlier before this webinar. We're going to find high reward, low risk setups. We're going to use a very unique approach for that. And since this is going to be an interactive session, I would recommend that you follow along live. If you already have access to our dashboard, perfect. Just log in now and open it up on your browser. If not, it is not too late to sign up for a free trial of our dashboard. And all you need to do is to go to tradingindicators.com/view. And Homo or Niklas, please paste this link into the chat box as well. So you can just simply, take it from there. You can sign up completely for free. There's no contract, no obligations. You can cancel at any time. And if you decide to, stay along or stay with it, then we have interesting monthly and yearly options. And one thing is that you will get instant access. So that's actually really important. So if you go there and set up right now, you will get your access right away in your email as soon as you sign up. So it is not too late to follow along. All right. Now, moving on. What's next? All right, so here we have the options. And one more time, there's no contract whatsoever, so there's no risk at all. I also recommend, before we get started, and this is something you can peruse after this session, I recommend that you download our free ebook. The link is down here and will also be pasted into the chat box. It's called The Power of Three: High Reward and Low Risk Setups. And this ebook describes in detail what these three setups are all about: the bounce setup, the zone break setup, and the zone break retrace setup. So it's completely free. It gives you some extra information as to why we think these setups are so interesting and also so powerful. That's where the name comes in, the power of three. And it also gives you some information how, why we think they work so nicely. All right, perfect. So please download this ebook if you have not done so. All right. So, and this is and I mentioned this in the beginning, this is our third live session. Okay. And so we had two sessions before, last week and the week before. And the cool thing is that we used the feedback from each of these prior sessions to further improve our dashboard. So let me show you what I mean by this. So from session one, and we stumbled over this together, while we're doing our scanning, we concluded, hey, wouldn't it be nice to have an indication as to how long a setup is already present? And this was particularly important for our zone break setup, because sometimes, a zone break happened maybe 50 days ago or 100 days ago, which makes the setup a little bit less interesting because it's kind of old news. So we took this suggestion very seriously, and we have added, we're going to see this in a second, we have added a duration indication showing you for how many trading days the setup is present. So you can basically see how fresh the setup is. So this is from session one. And from session two, and this is from last week, we said, hey, wouldn't it be nice to be able to annotate your ideas, to leave a note with a symbol, basically reminding you what did we have in mind, for example, when you do your weekly scan. This is also done. You can now take trade notes and associate these trade notes with a particular symbol. And we're going to use both these features in today's session. And Talking about feedback, it would be so nice if you could share with us the feedback that you may have to further improve our dashboard. Because what we are looking for to create here is a win-win scenario where we have a dashboard that makes us very happy because you guys like it, and most importantly, it is very useful to you, so that you guys can make better trading decisions, and so that it helps you in your trading process. So if you have any suggestions, don't be shy. Please put it into the Q&A box of your Zoom window. All right. And somebody's asking, you don't see the link to download the ebook? That's in the chat. Yeah, look at the chat icon of your Zoom. You should see it there. All right. So what are we going to scan for today? And I said it already in the beginning. We are going to look for what is called high reward and low risk setups. And these are setups where the profit potential outweighs the risk by oftentimes a multiple of 2, 3, or even 4, or even more. All these setups, they require a tight stop loss. And with our dashboard, we're not just arbitrarily, putting the stop loss at a very tight distance. No, we are going to put the stop loss at a technical relevant level, which is, of course, much more insightful than just arbitrarily saying, hey, my stop loss is maybe 1% away or 2% away or 3% away, which may not have any technical relevance. We are going instead to put our stop loss at a technical level. And how this works, we're going to discover together. Nonetheless, a little bit of caution or word of caution. Of course, these setups, since they are high reward, low risk, they may require several tries to work out. It would be great if we had, a win rate of maybe 80% of these kind of crazy setups. It is not feasible. But the beautiful thing about high reward and low risk is even with, a 50% win rate, for example, you will still be very profitable. Why? Well, because your profit potential will outweigh your risk, your stop loss. All right. So here's the process we're going to follow today. We're going to focus on one setup at a time, just to keep it very clear. So we have 3 setups to go through. We're going to focus on one at a time. We're going to scan for this setup, and we will create what's called a hot list. We're going to use our watch list feature for that. Okay, so for each setup, we're going to create a hot list, and then we're going to do some detailed analysis of the stocks in that hot list. We're going to annotate those with the new notes feature of the dashboard. All right, sounds good? Let's get started. The first setup that we are going to focus today is the bounce setup. Here, a quick overview of how it works. So in the long case, and I should also mention that today, since the market is so bullish, we're going to focus primarily on long setups. This is also, fits very nicely my personal trading personality, my trading personality, because I believe that stocks usually they do have an upside bias. They tend to rise over time rather than they would fall. On average, of course, not true for all stocks, but on average, this is often the case. So for the long bounce setup, what is happening? Well, price is nearing a support zone. You can see here this reddish area, that's a support zone. Price is nearing the support zone, and since support is acting as support, it may, this is our anticipation or expectation, it may prevent price from penetrating this support zone to the downside, and instead price will bounce off this support level to the upside. And this is exactly what we're going to look for today as our first setup. All right, so I'm going to hide my video, and then let's get started with the dashboard. All right, so I'm going to switch over to our scanner. We just find it real quick. I'm going to drag it in. All right, so this is our Liquidity View dashboard. And as mentioned, please try to follow along. And the first thing I want you to do is I want you to go to the settings item here, the settings wheel, and enable trade notes. This is this little button here. If it's enabled, you will see this little notes section on the left-hand side, because this is going to become important because we want to annotate our trades with these notes. Okay, so hopefully this is enabled now, and let's start scanning. And before we start, I also want to create, and please follow along, I want to create a watch list. remember, we want to create a short list for each setup. So I'm going to go here to my end of day scanner drop down, and I will click, actually going to delete this one. Yeah. And I will create a new watch list. So I'm going to click on create. All right. And I will give it a name. Long bounce setups. And just as a reminder, when these setups came in, we're going to also annotate this watch list name with a date. 2024, August 26. There we go. Create. All right, the watch list is now created. Okay, perfect. And we're going to place our symbols which belong to our short list into this watch list. Okay, so now how can we scan for our long bounce setup? And if you joined us in prior sessions or joined us during our tech talks, you already know that the main column in our scanner here on the left-hand side, is the Liquidity IQ setup column. Because this column has, if you click on the filter icon here, and by the way, if you don't see this filter icon, make sure you click on this little button here. This is to enable and disable the filters associated with each column. So right now they are disabled. You don't see the filter icon, but if I click on it, you can see this little filter icon here. So please do that as well. Okay, so let's click on the filter and let's select long bounce. And you will see as soon as you do this, our list of stocks in our scanner, which is currently at 4,951 stocks, is going to reduce dramatically. All right, let's do it. So we're going to click on long bounce. And as soon as it's done, we're now down to only 641 symbols. Wow, that was fast. And you know what I really like, I should not really, compliment our dashboard that much, but what I really enjoy about it is how fast this dashboard reacts. This was almost instantaneously. Now, this filter was applied and bang, right away, you have filtered down your stocks to only those which currently do have a long bounce setup. So just click on one. For example, this one here, long bounce, and you can see this little number here. This is your duration indication, indicating for how many days this particular symbol has been in a long bounce setup. And if you look here on our chart, this is Echo Brands Corporation, we can see that, yes, indeed, price is nearing this support zone. I can see it here. Perfect. This worked. Let's look at this one here. ACHC. Also, price is exactly at a support level. And this is exactly what we're scanning for. Stocks which are currently at a support level. And the expectation is that price will bounce off this level to the upside. All right. And in this case, look at the number 6 here. It tells you that this particular stock has been near this support level for 6 trading days. This is exactly the duration indication which I mentioned earlier. A brand new feature which we stumbled upon in our very first scanning session, where we said, hey, wouldn't it be nice to see directly in the scanner how fresh, in quotes, a setup is? Well, now it is possible. Just a little tip or pro tip for the dashboard. If you now sort this column, it will actually sort these stocks by this number. So they're all going to be long bounce setups because we filtered for that. But now they're also going to be sorted by the duration. You can see it here. Okay, so either from highest to lowest or from lowest to highest. Okay, well, this is all nice. So we now see which setups are fresh and which ones are perhaps a bit older. But there's one more thing which is important in order to really find a promising setup. Because sometimes, in this case here, for example, this stock is quite bearish. Look at this. It has a bearish indication here. Price has been trending down. It is not the nicest setup because, if things are bearish, this gives this support level, even though it has held up quite nicely in the past, a little bit less power because things are bearish. So what we really want to find are setups which are actually where price is near a support level, but the underlying symbol is bullish. The current trend is up. Okay, and if you know our dashboard, you know that this is exactly what this second column here does, the MA rush column. It may sound a bit cryptic because, this column name comes from the indicator, which tells you whether something is bearish or bullish. But we're going to use this column to now filter out all the bearish stocks and only focus on the ones which are currently bullish. And I will do this by simply clicking on this filter icon here and go down to bullish. And once done, we can see that we are down to only 132 stocks now. Wow. So out of our 4,951 stocks, only 132 are currently bullish and are in a long bounce scenario. But there's one more thing that we want to do, because I think this is really where everything comes together. I want to focus on stocks where this bullish trend has been going on for a long, long time, where it's not very recent. So this first one here, for example, Miao Technology has only been bullish very recently, only 94 days ago, which is very recent. You can see here, this bullish signal came in fairly recently. Maybe not the nicest setup. Wouldn't it be nice to only focus on stocks where the uptrend, the bullish trend, has been going on for much, much longer? Yes, it would be nice. And we can achieve this with our dashboard by sorting this MA Rush column. So first we filtered by bullish setups, and now we're going to sort it. And once again, so I just clicked on this column here, from highest to lowest. And let's see what's coming up right now. So the first stock is this one here, RSG, Republic Services Inc. And if you click on it, you can see that, wow, indeed, this stock has been bullish for a long, long time. Look at this beautiful trend. Yeah, let's just go here. When did it go? When did it go bullish? I have to scroll back for a long time. Here, this is, when was it? July 31st, 2020. So this stock is bullish for more than 4 years. And actually exactly for 1,067 trading days. Wow. So a very, very bullish stock has been going up very nicely, actually very smoothly. But recently, we have seen a bit of a retracement. So we made all-time highs. We tried to retest these highs. We failed. And now price bounced to the low side. And we are now trading just at this support level. Look at this one here. Beautiful. Definitely a great candidate for a bounce trade. And the expectation is that, hey, this stock is so bullish, price is likely to go up again. And, since it's a very bullish stock, I believe that this support level here could be quite powerful. So we're going to add this stock to our watch list. Great. So right click on the symbol, add symbol to our long bounce setup watch list. Done. Moving on. And what I'm going to do here now is I'm just going to go down this list and focus on perhaps the top 5 stocks which have been trending up for the longest. So AutoNation. Yeah, AutoNation, just by looking at this snippet of price action, we can see this is much less smooth, much more volatile, and quite sideways actually. But if you scroll back, you can see that, hey, this stock is bullish, but it's just very volatile. So to me, even though this is a very bullish stock, not the best, not the ideal candidate. So I'm going to skip this one. It's too volatile. I like to focus on stocks where everything is smooth. Okay, moving on. A German stock, and we do have at least one German person here today. Elmos Semiconductor. All right. So also this one here, let me just see what's going on. Yeah, it's a bit of the same scenario. And look how beautiful these resistance levels have held up in the past. Yeah, very nicely. It is at a support level. It is very bullish for a long time, but a little bit too volatile for my taste. I'm going to skip this one as well. Next one, Signa Corp. This is actually our trade idea from Tuesday. We called out this stock as our trade of the week. And I like this one because, once again, this one has been bullish for 996 trading days. It is a bit volatile, but I believe, especially since we had, seen this in the past quite often, that we had a couple of volatile moves to the downside, but they tend to respect these support levels quite nicely. And in fact, this one here, we called it out as our trade of the week on Tuesday, and it is still very much valid. Price is still near this support level, and I'm going to add this one to our short list.
Daniel,
yes.
Do you have time for a couple questions?
Sure, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, from Chris Coppinger. he says, with larger numbers, does the setup degrade? So he's speaking about how long the setup has been active, like their long bounce 5 bars. Does the setup degrade as more bars come in and the setup's been active for longer?
Yeah, I think it does. So that's a good point. Ideally, we'd like to see the bounce happen right away. Look at this one here. It goes straight down and then happens right away. Or here, down and up right away. Typically, if things are, contemplating the support level for a while, like in this case for 5 bars, this could be a sign of weakness. We don't see the bounce right away. So yes, I would say it does degrade it.
Thank you. Okay, and we have two more questions. One from
Yeah.
John. And John, Daniel's going to get to this really shortly when he speaks in detail about the setup. But John wants to know, do we end up knowing the risk? Like if there is a stop loss or a target, where are they placed such
Yeah.
that if price breaks the support, is there a fail safe?
That's coming up. Yeah. John,
And,
please stay tuned for that. Mhm.
and Peter wants to know, does this work on Forex?
Yes, it does. And in fact, we do have a couple of Forex pairs in here. Let's look at these Forex pairs towards the end, Peter, because I want to focus or keep focusing on our bounce setup for now. But yes, it does work with Forex.
Thanks, Daniel.
Perfect. Okay, so let's just move to one more to, let's say, Jill Inc. All right. Once again, we are trading near the support level, but you can see how long this has been contemplated. And if you follow our own advice, hey, the setup may degrade if it's been tested for over a long time. Let's move on from this one. And perhaps just, for the sake of moving forward, let's go to this one here, Plains GP Holding. So here, let's have a look what's going on. All right, this one has been in a bounce setup for only one day, so it's very fresh. Very nice uptrend for 837 trading days. And look at this beautiful trend here. And if we just look also at this indicator down here, this is our trend radar indicator. Look at how nicely this overarching long-term uptrend has held up. We haven't seen a pullback of all 5 levels where everything is red in like forever. So the last one happened down here in 2023. So this pattern where we see a pullback, which is completely normal in a trend, every trending move will have pullbacks, but these pullbacks have been restricted to only 4 levels. And if history repeats itself, we may see once again here this staying the way it is, and we will see a green patch coming up next, pushing price towards the middle in between support and resistance. So I'm also going to add this one to our hot list. All right, perfect. Oops, come on, there we go. Okay, edit. All right, so but as you can see, it makes it very easy to go through all these setups and create your hot list that way. Of course, we could have probably qualified more symbols, but for the sake of moving on, because there's another important feature I want to show you next, let's restrict ourselves to only the couple of stocks that we have added right now. Okay, so step 1 is done. We did the scanning. Step 2 is done. We create our hot list. And now step 3 is we're going to look a bit more in detail through the stocks in our hot list and annotate those with trade information. So I'm going to go back to my drop down here and select our long bounce setups hot list. We have 3 stocks in here. And let's just go through these ones one by one. Republic Services Inc. is the first one. And I'll tell you, this is my favorite one. It looks so smooth. We just had a pullback to this support zone, which also coincides with the first line here of our MA Rush indicator. So we have some confluence here. It's very bullish. It's a nice, smooth uptrend. And, here, if you were to take this trade, if I were to take this trade, yeah, I would, I always like to, get into my trade with limit orders. So I would wait until price pulls down a bit further, maybe here to the 198 level. Maybe let's say 198.50 to this level, here to the upper end of the support zone, enter long and place my stop just below this support level, perhaps at 196. My profit target at the minimum would be just below this resistance level here. Potentially this is going to go even further, but just to be conservative, my target would be somewhere around 2650. So let's put this trade information down via our brand new notes feature. Oops. Or did I lose internet? I hope not. Interesting. Okay, so I think I lost internet. I hope you guys could hear me for throughout. Okay, so let's annotate. So I'm going to go to RSG. I click on this notes section here. I'm going to put the date of today. So today is 2024, October 26. I already know it's a long bounce setup because it's in this watch list. And we're going to say limit entry at around this level here. What did we say? Around, let me just close this. What was the level here? At 198. 198.50 we said, I believe. Yeah, 198.50. So limit entry at long limit entry at 198.50. My stop loss, and John, this is exactly what you were asking for to manage your risk, would be just below this support level at 196. Oh, of course, I should write this a bit better. Stop of 196. And my target would be just below this resistance level. And why just below? Well, because this is still resistance. This may prevent price, at least initially, to power through it because it acts as resistance. So we don't want to give away our profits. So let's just put our target conservatively at 206, just below this resistance level here. All right, great. And if you do the math, you can see that, hey, we are looking to make approximately 8 points, and our stop loss is 2.50. So that's like a reward to risk ratio of around 3. Pretty good. And this is exactly what we're looking for, where our reward, our profit target, outweighs our stop loss by a multiple. Great. Done. I really like this one. This is a candidate for my trade of the week, which we're going to put out in our newsletter. I really like how this one looks like. Okay, next, planes. Yeah, guys, I'm going to skip this one. This is too erratic. It's too wild. Volatility increases your risk of this trade not working out, of you being stopped out prematurely. So I'm not going to take this trade. So this one I'm going to just annotate as no trade for now. No trade, too volatile. And adding this rationale to your trades is always a good idea. In fact, what I also could do here for RSG is to just also say why I like this trade. Yeah. Rationale is long uptrend. Low volatility. This is exactly what we'd like to see. And we currently have a nice, healthy pullback within that uptrend. Perfect. And let's look at Signa here. Yeah, this one, even though we called this one out as our trade of the week on Tuesday, but on Tuesday it was a bit different, the scenario. We just pulled back on Tuesday. This is this one here, I believe August 21st. We just pulled back to the support zone. And the hope was that we see an immediate bounce to the upside, just like what we saw here. Now this level has been contemplated for a bit, for 5 bars. You can see it here. So let's skip this one as well. As I mentioned before, this may weaken our setup a bit. So here, of course, hindsight is 2020. On Tuesday, we didn't know this. We're going to say no trade. Setup is not fresh anymore. Okay, perfect. Close. Done. All right, so we've annotated our first 3 symbols for the long bound setup. Awesome. What we're going to do on next Saturday, in our next scanning session, we are going to check, hey, what is what we called out today? How many trades of these actually worked out or did not work out? All right, perfect. Okay, so let's move on. Our next setup, so this was bounce. The next one is our zone break setup. Okay, so what is zone break all about? Well, for zone break, and here I always say, hey, nothing lasts forever. It's a bit of a morbid story. Nothing lasts forever. Eventually, every support level will be broken and every resistance level will be broken. And if this happens, this actually presents another opportunity to us. Because oftentimes, when such a zone break happens, we see some follow through. we see the symbol or the trend, continuing in the direction of the breakout, exactly as we can see it here. Our support level was broken, and we have a nice follow through to the downside. All right, so let's look for this setup next. And once again, this is a high reward, it's this big downside move, and a low risk because you put your stop loss once again just above the broken support zone for a short trade or just below the broken resistance zone for a long trade. All right, so let's go back to our dashboard. And the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to clear all the filters. You can clear the filters simply by clicking this yellow button here. Done. All the filters are cleared. And you may say, hey, we only have 3 stocks, even though our filters are cleared. Well, this is because we still have our watch list selected here. So I also want to switch over or switch back to our end of day scanner. Done. Okay, so now we're back to our 4,951 stocks. And of course, I also want to next create my watch list to keep track of these long zone break trades. So create, right? Long zone break. And once again, I'm going to also add the date. So 2024, 10/26. Great. All right, the watch list is created. And now let's scan. Okay, so back to the scanner here. And let's once again use our Liquidity IQ setup column. Filters are enabled, so I click the filter icon next to it. And now I will select my long break setup. So a break of resistance to the upside. This is exactly what this setup means. And once you do it, you will see that, hey, there are actually quite a few stocks, 394 in such a scenario. Actually, just now I went a bit down. I think we did the same scan last week, and I think it was over 500. So, of course, these update every single day. And perhaps a sign that, hey, the bull market that we're seeing is coming, or is perhaps weakening a little bit. Or is slowing down a little bit because now fewer stocks are actually in a zone break situation. And, this gives me, just by thinking about it, maybe an interesting idea about perhaps a gauge that we can add to our dashboard, indicating, okay, how many stocks do we currently have which are in a bullish zone break versus a bearish zone break? Just for the fun of it, let me just quickly see it. So 394 stocks are in a bullish zone break. And if I change this here to bearish, just for the fun of it, short break to the downside, how many do we have? 173. Okay, so about a 2-to-1 ratio. Perhaps this could be an interesting information, perhaps to point out in some kind of statistics about the overall market, because it gives you a bit of a sentiment of what's going on. Are we more stocks in a bullish scenario or in a bearish scenario? All right. In any case, let's go back to our bullish zone break. All right. So we are down to our 394 stocks. And actually, when we were scanning for this 2 weeks ago. This is where the duration was so important. So let's just look at this stock here, ADMA. All right. We can see that the zone break actually happened all the way back here in May 7, 2024. This is kind of old news. In May, we broke that zone, and the stock has been taken off ever since. But you know what? This is too long ago. This zone break is not so relevant anymore in terms of trading this zone break scenario. It's too old. It happened 117 trading days ago. Wouldn't it be nice to be able to find the fresh zone breaks? Yes, it would be nice. And once again, we can see this by the numbers right next to it. So for example, this one here, AMG, just recently had a zone break. You can see it here. We were below resistance. And then recently on this bar, we powered above this resistance level. So 1 bar ago, or this one here, ALTR. The zone break happened 2 bars ago. Now, 2 bars have been above the resistance level. That's exactly how you can use this number. And what we will do right now is we are going to sort from lowest to highest so we can focus on the stocks which recently had the zone break. By the way, guys, just for the fun of it, I'm gonna reverse the sorting order in a second. But if you're interested to see, hey, which stocks are the hottest ones of the year or of the years, plural, just do the opposite. Focus on the one where this number is the highest. This one here, Fortress Transportation and Infrastructure. Look at how amazingly bullish this stock is. So it's just, fascinating to see how, oh man, what a beautiful trend. Look at this one. Oh boy, really tremendously beautiful. And also this one actually has some opportunities, even though this zone break happened forever ago. If we see a bit of a pullback, perhaps towards this upper MA rush line here, this could be another opportunity to re-enter long. Just playing on the fact that, hey, this stock is so bullish. If it ever pulls back a little bit further, I wouldn't enter now. It's too extended. But if you see a bit of a deeper pullback, this could be an interesting opportunity to re-enter into this long trade, even though this zone break happened a really long time ago. All right. Okay, so, but now let's reverse the sort order and let's focus on the ones where the zone break happened recently. And once again, so this one here, AMG, we had it, or ARGX, another one where you just had recent zone breaks. But this is not enough. We want to add another confirmation to our breakout trade. And once again, we are going to focus on stocks which are bullish right now. And of course, we had a zone break to the upside. Most stocks will be bullish, but nonetheless, I will put on my bullish ME rush filter here. Done. So now we're down to 388 stocks. Perhaps we sorted out one or two. And now we're going to sort actually by the duration of the trend once again. And the first one comes up, actually, it's the German one. German Telecom. So the Germans of us will know it. This stock has been on a tear recently with the zone break here, and ever since we didn't look back. But once again, this zone break happened too long ago. By the way, I'm a bit jumpy, but a bit of a segue or a preview of what's happening next. Our next setup, we're actually going to scan for a scenario where we have the zone break and then a pullback back to the broken zone. This is the zone break retrace setup. So that's coming up next. Okay, so this one happened too long ago. But let's look at this one here. INTL or SNEX. So here, the zone break happened just recently. You can see it here. The last bar. Now, this stock has been bullish for 1,109 trading days. And this is a much more interesting scenario. Look at this one here. Yeah. So bullish, of course, we had some bigger retracement here, but this could be an interesting stock to, now enter long because we broke above resistance. In fact, this looks a bit like a zone break retracement here. So once again, we are above resistance, and the expectation could be, hey, now that we saw our retracement already, we're going to see some further upside action of this symbol. So I'm going to add this one to our shortlist. All right. Zone long breaks. Done. Edit. Okay. Next, O'Reilly Automotive. Oh, this one. Let's have a look at this one. It's very expensive. All right. But also here we can see that, oh boy, this one has been on a tear too. Look at this beautiful uptrend here. We broke above. We broke above resistance initially here, then a bit of a pullback, and now we're once again trading above resistance, which is now acting as support. Friday was a bit of a down day. So price went down, and this could be another interesting opportunity to re-enter long this symbol. So I'm also going to add this one to our short list. What's interesting here is that we just recently had earnings. I guess earnings didn't really do much a couple of days ago. I guess on Thursday, earnings came out, a bit of volatility, but not too much, not a big gap. And now, once again, we are trading near this broken resistance level, which is now acting as support. So definitely an interesting one. Okay, moving down the list, and we're going to focus on the ones where the zone break was fresh. So now, look at this one here. Applied Industrial Technologies. Here, yes, zone break, retracement. Now we're trading once again above this level. Of course, this one would have been much nicer to enter here. Bit of a gap. At this point, gaps tend to be filled. So this could be an interesting one. So if you believe that this gap will be filled to the downside, we may see another pullback. And if it happens, this could be an interesting limit long entry around this level here. So I'm also going to add this one to our shortlist. And let's just find one more here. A German one. Why not? let's change it up a little bit. Commerzbank, German bank, also been quite bullish. We did break above resistance at this point here. One retracement, moved up again. Now another retracement back to this broken resistance level. Could be an interesting one to trade as well. So I'm also going to add this one to our shortlist. All right, done. So we added a couple of stocks to it. I'm not going to go through the entire list here, but you see what the process is, I believe. All right. So now let's zoom into each of these symbols a bit closer. So I'm going to go to our watch list, the long zone break watch list, which has 4 symbols in this case. And let's focus on the one right here, SNEX. It's the ones which has been bullish for the longest. And yeah, once again, this is a nice symbol to trade, long-term uptrend. The retracements that we see throughout this trend, they have been quite deep. You can see it here. Of course, we've been making higher highs and higher lows throughout, but retracements are quite substantial. So this is a bit of a red flag. But you know what? Since we would have so little risk on the table, it might be worthwhile placing a limit entry around perhaps 84.70, I would say, like in the middle of this resistance zone. My stop loss just below here at 83, just below this zone and the upside potential. So if this works out, I believe it could be easily go to probably something like 95, 97. So if this uptrend continues, this could be a very nice opportunity to re-enter into this trade. So let's do this. So entry around 84.70. All right. So, okay. So the date today, I'm going to write it down, is October 10, 26. All right. Limit entry. I like limit entries because I like price to come to me. I, as a trader, want to get the best possible entry price. I'm much more comfortable, and it's actually quite the opposite of what Warren Buffett does, but I am personally much more comfortable to miss out on a trade than to getting into a bad trade. So I'd rather miss out than getting into a bad trade. So limit entry, I want to get the price I want at 87. What was it? 84.70. 84.70. All right, my stop loss is just going to be below this resistance level, which is now acting as support at around 82.60. All right, 82.60. And I believe, I mean, if this one takes off again, we can easily see a move up to like 95 or even higher. So I'm going to put my profit target, take profit at 95. Now, and the cool thing about the zone break setup is that we have blue skies ahead. You will only get this setup in your scanner if there are no other resistance levels above. Typically, this happens when a stock makes an all-time high. So we can see it here. Yeah. So clear skies ahead. And if this bounce is really happening off this resistance level, we may see much higher levels. So an interesting trade for sure. O'Reilly Automotive. All right. This is an expensive one, but I still like it. And we did have this big pullback, but you know what? Yeah, we are trading now in this level. We just had earnings coming up, not much happening here. If we see a pullback a bit further to like 1,180, I would also consider re-entering into this long trade in the hope that, you know, we're going to see some further upside action. So also this one, I'm going to say, put my date here. And maybe you're going to add an automatic date feature for your notes. So it's basically annotated with the date, so I don't have to write it down every time I add a note. So October 26 for the stock. Limit entry at 1,170 around this level. It's a very expensive stock. My stop loss just below this support. So I'm going to keep it very tight at 1,140. And my take profit is going to be at, if this one takes off, at 1,300. Now, this is a realistic target. All right. So once again, you can see that when our reward to risk ratio is phenomenal. It's a risky trade to take in the sense that, hey, our stop loss is so tight, we may get stopped out. And the past has shown us, yeah, this stock can be quite volatile. But we're just gonna, take a shot here. If he gets stopped out, so what? We can try it again, perhaps. But this is a very bullish stock and potentially a good opportunity to enter into this long trade right now. All right, AIT. This one. All right, what do we have here? Wow, very bullish once again. We just came off this retracement here. You can see it here. In Trend Radar, we retraced 3 levels. Now we're green again. We're just now, once again, above this level. So I believe, and this one had the gap too. I believe this gap might get filled. And if we do, this could be an interesting opportunity to also re-enter along here. So entry at 220, 224 for the gap fill. All right, so at my note. Okay, day 2024, 1026. Limit entry at, what did I say? 220, I believe. Did I say 220? It's not so easy to know. 223. Yeah. All right. So 223. All right. My stop loss will be at just below this level here. Let's have a quick look at 219. That's maybe, yeah, 219 is fine. Okay. 219. And my target will be, yeah, if this one takes off again, I think we can easily see levels at 250 or higher. So at the 249 in this case. Why 249? Because I'm always a bit wary about these psychological numbers like 250. We may see a bounce of these, or price may have trouble reaching them. So just a bit below. I think this is a reasonable target. Another phenomenal reward to risk ratio. And let's keep an eye on this one, how this one will pan out. And for Commerzbank, the German one, we're going to skip this one. I think very few of you would ever trade a German stock, unless you're German. And because of this, let's skip this one and move on to our last setup of today. All right. On Ashley says she really enjoys the scanner. Awesome. Thanks, Ashley. These are very nice words. Okay, moving on. So our last setup, and it is almost 1 o'clock. We're probably going to finish around 1:10 or so. So our last setup, and actually this is my personal favorite. Maybe next time I'm going to start with this one because, it's the rarest of all setups, but oftentimes the most powerful one. So what is this last setup? It is the zone break retrace setup. How does it work? Well, as the name suggests, we require a zone break. You can see it here, price powered above this resistance level. It initially went up, but then it retraced. It retraced back to the broken resistance level, which is now acting as support. And this happens over and over again. We have this initial fake out. The market tries to fake you out. Price goes back to this broken level. People may panic, but we're not going to panic. We're actually going to use this as a re-entry opportunity into this bullish move. Because oftentimes after this initial retrace, the breakout move really takes off. We're going to scan for this setup next. All right. So I'm going to switch back to our dashboard one more time. We're going to go to our end of day scanner and we will clear out all the filters. Done. Okay. And next we're going to create our watch list. So long zone break retrace. All right. And today is the 26th of October. Create. So watch list is created. And now let's scan. And the process now should be very familiar to all of you. So we're going to use our Liquidity IQ column here, this one. And now we're going to filter by long break retrace. And as you will see, as soon as I do this, you can see just by looking at our numbers here, this is by far the rarest setup. Only 42 stocks are in this zone break retrace setup. It is very rare, but I like it so much because oftentimes it is the most powerful one. So it's very selective. But since we are scanning through so many stocks, you will pretty much have every single day a couple of these at least. So in this case, we have 42 stocks. All right. So initially down to 42 stocks. But Once again, actually, let me just open up one of them so we can see how it looks like. Yeah, look at this. Beautiful. Zone break. Price went up. I guess earnings came out here. Yeah, earnings came out on the 24th. We can see it here. It came out, yes, on Thursday. It gapped down because of the earnings. And where did the gap stop? And this is no coincidence. It get stopped exactly at this broken resistance level, which is now acting as support. So price stopped there. And this, to me, once again, a great opportunity to re-enter long into this trade. And in fact, I'm definitely going to add this one to our watch list right away, even though I'm not even done with my filtering here, because this is a really nice one. Okay, done. Why is this nice? Because this stock has been trending up for 1,026 trading days. It's super bullish. We had the zone break. We had earnings coming up with a big gap down. It stopped exactly at this broken level. And now also we have this gap to refill. Gaps tend to be filled. This is here, everything checks very nicely, and definitely we're going to add this as a recommendation for our own, of course. Not, we don't give our trade advice, but this is definitely a good trade idea to re-enter long in this position. Okay, so these are great setups, but what I also want to do next is to filter, or to sort, I should say, by stocks which are actually bullish for the longest. I'm going to go to my Miami Rush filter here, and I'm going to filter by only bullish stocks. And oftentimes for this long break retrace, these are all bullish. Well, at least at some time. So I filtered. We had 42 stocks still, but now I'm going to sort by the ones which have been bullish the longest. In fact, Fix was the first one here. Great setup. But let's look at the next one. Gartner. All right. Look at this one. Also a very beautiful uptrend here. Here, bigger retracement, exactly down to the support zone, a nice bounce. In fact, this could have been a really beautiful bounce trade. And now we made all-time highs, you can see it here, but price ever since has retraced back to this broken zone. So definitely something interesting, even though, this resistance level hasn't always held up for the retrace. So here we had a deeper retrace, now up again. Price is back down here. We'll see. But let's still add it to our watch, our short list. Long break retrace. Arch Capital. It's the next one on our list. Once again, it's always going to be the same scenario. Nice uptrend. We had our zone break here quite a while back, moved up, and recently retraced back to this support zone just 1 bar ago. You can see it. Also an interesting candidate. Even though here our earnings are coming up in a couple of days, which could be a bit of a red flag or yellow flag, because we never know with earnings what's going to happen. And one more. Actually, I'm going to skip this one. You know why? Because the trading volume is so low. And you know what? This is a filter we haven't applied yet. Let's also filter by stocks which have at least 500,000 shares traded on average. Okay. So United Rentals. All right. Rental cars. Okay. Long-term uptrend. We recently broke above all-time highs, and now we're trading very nicely near this broken resistance level. Yeah, could be an interesting one as well. And we just had earnings recently, so this is done already. Okay, perfect. And one more time, Caterpillar. Interesting stock, very bullish. We took out this all-time high, which was established in April, just recently in September. Price ever since pushed further up, now retraced. And also to me, this could be an interesting stock, even though once again, earnings are coming up next week. So you perhaps want to be careful with this one. Okay, so let's stop here and let's look at these symbols a little bit closer one by one. So I'm going to switch over to my watch list and let's have a look. Oh, and Fix is not here. Where did I put Fix? Oh, because our filters are still on. There we go. Okay. So this one actually was taken out by our own filter because we filtered for stocks with volume greater than 500,000 shares traded. But in this case, I'm going to ignore this filter because this stock has been phenomenal. So I really like it. Long-term uptrend. We powered above resistance. Now the big retracement down after earnings, but it stopped very nicely at this broken level, but now acting as support, and we have this gap to fill. So to me, that's definitely an interesting idea. So I'm going to annotate this. Okay, so 24 August 26, limit entry, of course. It's my personal style. Limit entry. I want to see it come down a little bit further to perhaps around what's this level here? Maybe 360. 360. That's good. So 360, 50. Because once again, psychological number, maybe a bit higher. Okay, so at 360, 50. Stop loss just below our level here. Maybe around, if you want to play this one tight at 340, maybe a bit below 390, 339.50. Okay. Okay, 339.50. And if this holds up, I have no problem seeing levels of 450 or higher. So let's just be conservative of 445. So take profit, 445. But you know, this is a very bullish stock. I would not be surprised if we soon see levels around 500 and higher. All right, perfect. So yeah, interesting one. Okay, let's move on. Gartner. Gartner was nice too. So we have no earnings coming up, which is good. We recently broke above this resistance level. We had this retracement initially here. Now we broke above it again. And price is once again trading at this level. It's definitely a contemplated level. It's been tested from the downside a few times and now from the upside once again at around the 500 level and a bit higher, 510. You know what? I would give it a shot too. Limit entry at 509. Stop loss just about 5. Yeah, it's a psychological number. Maybe 499 in this case. Okay, 505. No, 5. Let's do 510. Around the middle here. Okay, so limit entry 26. Limit entry at 5. Where are we? 510, I said. Stop loss at 499. 499, just below the psychological number. Yeah, and my take profit is going to be at, in this case also easily 550. Since it's a round number, maybe 549.50. Just in case we see a bounce of this psychological number. By the way, guys, one thing I forgot to mention is, I kind of ballpark where my stop loss or where my profit target will be. But actually, the indicator, Liquidity IQ, the first indicator here, would actually also suggest a stop loss automatically for you. Let me quickly show you that feature. So you can go to your settings here, scroll all the way down, and enable show your long target and your long stop loss. If you do this, you can see exactly where the indicator would place your stop loss and targets. So this is something that is calculated by the indicator. It's always going to be at a technical relevant level. In this case, just below this resistance zone. And I believe the indicator puts it 1 ATR or a percentage of the ATR below this level. This is done on purpose. Yeah, so you can also see this information here. Typically for the long break retrace, we choose a conservative target, which gives you more or less a 2-to-1 reward risk ratio. So here we gain to lose 2.28% if we get stopped out, but we may gain 4.55% if we hit this target. It actually shows you here directly in parentheses. All right. Okay, so one more real quick. This one here, Arch Capital. I'm going to skip this one. You know why? Because earnings are coming up. So here it's going to annotate no trade. Earnings next week. Okay, perfect. And United Rentals, we just had earnings. Okay, this could be an interesting one too. It's an expensive stock, quite volatile. Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna skip this one just for the sake of time. It's definitely an interesting one, also to consider. We had once again the retrace. The reason why I want to skip this one is because similar to Gartner, this level has been tested before. Now we're going back to it. This may show a bit of a sign of weakness of this level. We may see a bit of a bigger retracement. So I'm going to skip this one. And for Caterpillar here, we have earnings coming up next week. I'm not going to write this down now, even though this is a very nice move, very rounding off before it may take off. But we're going to skip this one as well because of earnings coming up. All right. Okay, but nonetheless, we do have a nice list of interesting trade setups for the week ahead. And of course, most importantly, I hope that by going through this process, you now all have an intuition how you can find these setups on your own. Because we all have our own preferences and styles of trading, and we may consider certain things as important or not important. But at least now you can narrow down your universe of stocks, which you may contemplate very fast, and then you can do your own technical analysis, similar to what I have done. Find intelligent stops below technical levels and also targets which actually make sense. All right, perfect. So let me quickly go back to my slides, and a quick reminder: if you have not downloaded yet your ebook, please do it. It explains these setups in great detail. It's a very nicely written ebook. Thank you, Homer, for this. She, yeah, I think did a great job writing up all these powerful strategies. The link is here. It's also in your chat. And if you have not tried out our dashboard yet, tradingindicators.com/view is the link. 1 week free trial, no contract. Yeah, you can cancel at any time. But if you want to stick with it, we have interesting monthly and yearly options for this dashboard. All right. So with this, let's look at some symbol requests. Nicholas or Homer, do we have some interest? Do we have some questions coming in?
Yeah, Daniel. Well, first of all, we have a couple questions. So we have one, I think it was from Chris. Let me just double check. Yeah, he wanted to know, when does a resistance zone officially become a support zone? Like in the case of a zone break, let's say.
Yeah, pretty much as soon as it is broken. That's every zone can have two roles, so to say. So support can become resistance, or resistance can become support. So as soon as it's broken, and in this case, for example, it's broken with authority. It's a nice break. It's a clean break. As soon as this happens, it will act as support. So that's the technical theory behind this. But we want to see a clean break. So it's just lingering around that level. Perhaps I wouldn't go that far. But if you have a clean break, like in the case of Fix here, a very clean zone break, yeah, at that point, it will act as support.
Thank you. And we have a request. If you could quickly review what notes you had on Commerzbank, the German stock.
The German stock. Where did we put that one? I think it was a long bound setup. Nope. No. Oh, this one. No notes. I said I skipped this one because it was German. But if I had to annotate this one, so I didn't put any notes, you can see this is not filled. But if I had to look at this one here, it's pretty much the same scenario. This was in our zone long break list. So we broke above resistance. A beautiful retracement here. Exactly to that broken zone. You can see it. It took off again. Now we retraced once again, almost to the T, to this resistance level. Look at this. Look at this. How this candle wicked down exactly to our zone break level, this green line here. Like, let me just switch off real quick. Trend. Rush almost to the T, to this level. It shows you how powerful these levels can be. It bounced off from it again. And, once again, I think this is a very bullish stock. If we see a bit of a retracement on Monday, I would re-enter or enter perhaps at 50, around 16 on this level here to the long side, and place your stop loss just below this resistance level, now acting as support, perhaps at around 1540. Target 1764 as a conservative target, potentially even higher, giving you a nice 2-to-1 reward to risk ratio. So you look to gain 9.25%, and if you get stopped out, 4.63%. But this assumes actually these numbers here, which you can see next to your suggested profit target and stop loss, these are based on the current price. So if we would enter right now at 1614, of course, if we have our limit entry at 1600, these will be shifted a little bit. So our stop loss will be a bit less percent, so maybe minus 4%, but our target would be a bit higher, maybe at around 10%.
Thanks, Daniel. And I think from the same asker, they said that a challenge they have with the dashboard is being able to actually see the pertinent zones or levels. So
Yeah.
I think one solution there, because I don't think we have an option to make them more dense, the zones, like the coloring around, but you can enable the labels. And the easiest way to do that is by clicking the reset button at the bottom of your chart. It'll set the defaults and put those resistance and support labels. So you could just read the values if you can't see them.
Yeah, and there's actually one more thing that's exactly, we could do this. We can enable these labels, but we can also change the background color of your chart. So if you do a right click here, you go to settings, under canvas here, change the background color to solid and make it completely black. That's one thing I like to do. And the other thing, what you can also do is to get rid of your grid lines on the chart. So no grid lines. Once done, it looks much cleaner. Look at this. Maybe I should have done this right away. So you see how much easier now these labels and these levels are to read and to find.
Perfect, Dale. And now we have some symbol requests that have come in.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll start from the top down. Could we begin with PLTR, Palantir?
Oh, yeah. That symbol sounds familiar. I think we had featured it a few times in our option alerts and also in our market analysis. Wow. Short bounce, 13 bars. Okay. So actually, this is an interesting one. And I need to look into this a little bit. I'm not sure why the indicator sees a short bounce here. This to me is a yeah, very bullish. I don't see any resistance level up here. I will actually take this one away. There's something off with the scanner for this particular one. Actually, I'm gonna, Nicholas, perhaps take a quick note of this. This is gonna be I'm gonna have an answer for this one in our next scanning session, because to me, this looks like a, you know, an extended yeah, bullish run here. We are way above our ME rush lines. I would not enter long here. If we see a pullback down to perhaps this this mean reversion, perhaps this could be an interesting long entry. Definitely, I would not play any short trade for this one. So I'm not sure why it says short bounce. This is something we're going to take away.
Thanks, Daniel. And the next symbol is JNUG. So JNUG.
Yeah. This is okay. Oh, don't we have this one? Oh, I don't think we have this symbol. Also, we're going to take a note of this. This is actually great, guys. If you have any symbol requests, which we are currently not tracking, send them to us via email. I'm going to show you how you can get in contact with us. We are going to look at adding these symbols for the next scanning session. So this is something we do regularly. We just added about 50 symbols last week, and we're going to have another batch of new symbols added for the next week to come. So this is something we do regularly. Next one, please.
Thanks, Daniel. The next symbol is AT&T. T is the symbol.
Yeah. AT&T. 1 second. There we go. Okay. This one is in a clear short bounce tonight. So here it's very clear. So we just look at this one here. Yeah, price is near resistance. It initially bounced off from it. It's exactly what the short bounce setup is all about. So trading at resistance. Initially, we saw a nice bounce off. I would be careful to short this stock on the basis that, hey, this is a very bullish stock. This can just be a healthy retracement before we're going to take out this resistance level to the upside, which can then act as support. So to me, I would stay on the sidelines. Yeah, even though this says short bounce, we are bullish for 144 days. And I like to trade when everything comes together, when we see confluence, trend direction, and the setup direction are confirming each other's price move. This is not the case here. So this is a short move in an uptrend. So I would stay away.
Perfect. And another one we have here is ZT. So this should be 2-year futures on something at ZT.
Yeah. Okay.
And Chris mentioned, he said, I'd had a beautiful STB short earlier this month and now running into a broken resistance zone, which might act as support. How would you approach this setup? Does STB override liquidity IQ in this case? I'm not sure what STB is.
Oh, you probably are referring to the super trend bullseye, maybe? I believe so.
That would probably make sense because super trend bullseye would likely go short.
Yeah, and Chris, let's take this one offline. Maybe we can cover this one in our next lunch and learn session, because most users, if you're joining us for the first time, they will not know what a super trend, a bull's eye is. This is one of our other indicators. But yeah, let's have a look at the symbol here. Nice one, nice bullish run here. We had the zone break here. Now the retracement back to this broken resistance level, now acting as support. Yeah, this could be an interesting one to re-enter long. Bullish since 67 days, not too long. Let's see what's going on here. Yeah, I mean, the bonds, and they have been bearish before this. Now we see a bit of a move up. To me, not the cleanest setup because bullish only for a very short period of time. But if you, of course, trade futures, you don't have the luxury to scan through thousands of symbols. That's only a handful of futures. So it could be an interesting one. If you want to play this aggressively, I would play it to the long side if your stop was just below this resistance level here, which is now acting as support.
Thanks, Daniel. We have a question for Netflix, or a request for Netflix.
Netflix. All right. Netflix, long break. All right. Very bullish. Let's see. Okay, I think Netflix had earnings too at some point. I think 2 weeks ago. Yeah, and one thing I like to do, guys, is when you see all this overlapping of the labels, actually gonna step in right now and clean this up a little bit with the settings of our liquidity IQ indicators. I'm gonna get rid of my zone break labels and my liquidity capture labels, and also actually gonna hide my targets and stops as well. Go down here. Where is it? There we go. So I'm getting rid of these targets too, just to keep my chart a little bit cleaner. Yeah, interesting one here. We did have earnings coming up about a week ago. Big move up. I would not be surprised if we see in the week to come a bit of a retracement back to this broken zone, on the premise that gaps tend to be filled, or at least attempted to be filled. So we may see a bit of downside action. If we do, this could be an interesting opportunity to re-enter into this uptrend, especially since Netflix has been bullish for a very long time, almost 427 trading days now.
Perfect, Daniel. We have one for AFRM, Affirm. I think that's pharmaceuticals.
Yeah, Affirm. This one we had too as a trade of the week, didn't we, Nicholas, at some point? I forgot. Yeah. So bullish since 214 days. I can see it directly in my scanner. It's a bit sideways though. To me, not the cleanest setup, even though we did have this zone break here with some initial follow through. Price has been whipsawing a little bit. Now a new resistance level is actually up here. I mean, I personally would stay away from this one. It's also a bit too volatile for my taste. So for this one, just by looking at this, perhaps a bit too much action. It's not the cleanest setup. And guys, in terms of symbols adding, please don't put you can put them in the Q&A and we can try to find them, but you can also just send me an email. That makes it a bit easier for us to keep track of them. I'm going to show you in a second how you can find my email address or our contact address for symbol requests. All right.
Perfect. And Daniel, we have a request for AMD.
AMD. All right. Okay, short bounce. Yes. Yeah, AMD was very hyped up and all the way up to 227 here. We saw a deep correction since this very extended move that AMD had. And now it is trading in between this support and resistance level here. We are near resistance. That's why we have a short bounce setup listed here. It's just that price, historically speaking, didn't really respect these levels that well. Yeah, I would also stay away just because this level has been broken in the past quite easily. Now, I'm not too convinced that it will act as strong resistance. Price may just power through it again. If it does, perhaps we see a move further up towards this resistance level here at 187 around. But personally, I would stay away from it.
Perfect. From John here, we just have a nice comment. Thank you for the incredible presentation. I can imagine it being fully automated with some clever programming. Very cool, and congratulations. Thank you, John. And thank you for coming in your questions. Jen wants to know, is this for options trading only, or can you use it to trade any market?
Yeah, it's not you can trade options with it. And in fact, we do have an indication here whether this symbol is optional. We also have an indication of what the volatility of the symbol is. Oftentimes option pricing are lower. Where is it? Let's move this over here. Option prices are a bit better if volatility is low because that affects option pricing. So you can even filter for this to find interesting options trades. All kinds of trades, directional trades, maybe outright calls or outright puts to either directions. You can also look for strangle trades. For example, if a stock is somewhat in a traffic jam, like caught between support and resistance, it is quite likely this stock is going to move either to the upside or the downside. It's unlikely it's going to stay where it is. And a strangle options trade, for example, bets on the fact that this stock is moving. It doesn't matter where it moves to, either up or down. We can stay to benefit from that if this move happens. And we can scan for these kinds of scenarios as well. So yeah, you can look for options trade. You can look for outright stock trades. This is what we did primarily today. You can also look for FX trades. So if I go to my column filter here and go to asset class and enable or filter by just FX symbols, even cryptos. FX here we see that we currently track 34 different FX pairs, and you can see also here what is the current setup. So let me just maybe go see if we can something in. No long break retrace, no surprise there because that's yeah, quite rare. Euro USD is in the long bounce area. Okay, let's see what this one is all about. All right, that's a cool one. It's been quite bullish. So the euro, I guess, has gained some strength for 223 trading days compared to the US dollar. Now a nice retracement down to this support level. Yeah, and we may see a bounce off. Actually, it already initially happened here. Look at this one. Beautiful. Right into the zone. And this, yesterday's candle, Friday's candle, a nice bounce off. So yeah, FX can be traded as well, or scanned for as well with this dashboard.
Cool. Are you taking any more symbol requests, Daniel?
Sure, let's do one or two more.
Okay, so we have one for NEM. That's Newmont Mining.
Yep. This is one that we also have done featured a few times with our options alerts. We just had earnings last week. Oh boy. I don't know if anybody was on our options service, but I think we put out a strangle trade for NEM in our last alerts. I might be mistaken. Maybe that was the week before. If you did, congratulations. I'm sure you put that strangle now off through the roof. Great down power here from that earnings report. But yeah, once again, we had the zone break here at this point. Yeah. Price went up, huge earnings report, I guess, and all the way down towards this broken resistance level now acting as support. And there's no surprise that price actually stopped just above this because this will now act as support. But from a technical point of view, I would not be. It's a bit erratic. It's not as clean as I would like to see it. But if you want to take a shot at it, perhaps now could be an interesting opportunity to re-enter long at this point after the steep retracement in the expectation that this bullish move, which started 59 trading days ago, is going to continue.
Thanks, Daniel. And the last one would be D-Dog. D-D-O-O-G. That's 1-0. D-D-O-G.
D-Dog. Data Dog. Okay. What a cool name. Data Dog's bullish for 239 trading days. No current setup, but this is actually, I'm going to comment a little bit in a second why what I think about the stock. But the reason why Liquidity IQ right now is showing you there's no setup right now for this particular symbol is the following. Because you may say, hey, we did have a zone break here. This resistance level was broken. Shouldn't this be in a zone break scenario? No, it will not be. Because for a zone break, at least in our logic, for a zone break to be valid, we need to have clear skies ahead, which is clearly not the case here. You can see we have this resistance level here and another one up here. So this is not, a pure zone break because our upside move is restricted by these other resistance levels here. This is why this is not flagged as a zone break setup. Now, what do I think about this stock? It is very bullish. I mean, we've been consolidating here for quite some. Oh boy, actually, yeah, bullish since this stock. I wouldn't say it's very bullish. And in fact, one may argue that this is just the correction of this bearish move here. So we corrected now. It's probably some sort of Fibonacci level. If I were to point this out, Where did we go? All the way here. Yeah, we corrected all the way to the 61 or almost to the 61.8 Fib level. And from this point of view, I mean, my overall outlook, at least to the long term, would be rather bearish for Datadog, seeing that this could just be a correction of this bearish move, which we had seen earlier. All right. Okay. We do one more, Nicholas, and then we're gonna cap it off. Is there somebody who didn't have a symbol request looked at yet?
Yeah, we had a request from John Ford for UNG, but I don't think I think we need to add that symbol.
Oh, let's see. No, we do have it.
Oh,
Yep.
great.
There you go. Woo! Natural gas. Very bearish. Oh boy. Oh my God, what's going on here? Yeah, I'm not sure what happened to that company, but we just lost since 2022 in the last 2 years. I don't know, about 80% of value. Now, where are we? Let me just zoom out, see what we have. I mean, this is a super bearish stock. We bounced off quite nicely off this support level a couple of times, but you know what? I would actually, if we move up a bit higher to this resistance level here, you could bet on the fact that this is a stock which will continue its bearish move at this resistance level. So if we see a move up to like 15 or 1550, even to this area here, perhaps consider shorting this one. If your stop loss just above this resistance level, maybe at 16, in the expectation that, hey, we're going to see another leg further down because this stock has been extremely bearish since 452 trading days, losing a lot of value. All right, and I see one more symbol, Qualcomm. All right, so let's do this one. Oops. There we go. All right, so here, bullish for 202 days. We are in a magnet zone. Okay, so what are we seeing here? So, of course, this is a nice bullish one. We see the retracement of that huge parabolic bullish move here. And currently, we are trading, and this is where this magnet zone label comes from. We are trading pretty much smack down center between support and resistance. We call this magnet zone because, you know, price is kind of entrapped between these two levels. And it is likely that price will, once this traffic jam here is done, it will move, actually it's a certainty, it will move either to resistance or to support below. And the way how we determine internally, hey, which is more likely to be visited first is by looking at our MA rush indicator. It is bullish. And because of this, we're going to have the bias here. Hey, this stock is going to move next to our resistance level up here. And if you were to trade this, you would enter long at this level 170. Your target just below at this resistance level 189, and your stop loss just below the support zone. But this is not one of our high reward, low risk setups because you would give this trade much more room because you would have to put your stop all the way below the support. But yeah, an interesting one. I think it's a bullish setup. This could be just a retracement once again of this big bullish move. If I put my Fib tool on right here. So this one moved up all the way to here, and we can see this retracement. Yeah, once again, wow, almost to the dot, huh? To the 61.8 Fib level. Yeah. So to me, this is just a correction of this bullish move. All right, perfect. Okay, we are 1 hour and 30 minutes in. I think we're going to stop my scanning right now. And let me quickly go back one more time to our slides. A quick reminder, if you haven't checked it out, go to tradingindicators.com/view for a free trial of our dashboard. And should we have missed out on some questions, which we didn't answer yet, don't be shy. Send me a note at tradingindicators.com, or send us a note, I should say. And go to our homepage, go to the main menu, click on contact. It will open up a contact form. Put your question there, and it will go straight to our inbox. Also, if you have any symbol requests, please submit them there. It's just easier for us to keep track of them this way than going through the Q&A in the Zoom window. All right. Perfect. Yeah, John, it would be nice if you come to Montreal. We can have a little reunion. John and I, we go back many years. I know him personally. And yeah, thanks, John, for joining us today in this session. Always good to see you. Perfect. So if there are any other questions, please, yeah, let me know right now. Now's the time. And if not, I will remind you that we have a lunch and learn session for all our members on Tuesday at 12 p.m. So please, if you're a member, look out for your invitation. And by the way, if you come on board for the free trial, you will automatically become a member of us. For the duration of the free trial, or of course, if you decide to get the subscription. And as a member, you will be invited to our lunch and learn sessions, which take place every Tuesday at 12 p.m. Eastern. The invite will be sent out shortly. And in these sessions, we review some tips and tricks about our products, not just the dashboard, but also our indicators. We're going to do some live market analysis. We're going to talk about options. The option professor is going to be there, and it's a great opportunity for you guys to ask questions. So perhaps one more reason to come on board. All right, guys, that's it for today. I don't see any questions coming in. Have a great weekend. Thanks for spending your time with us today. This means really a lot to us. Awesome. And yeah, see you guys soon. Happy trading. Bye, guys.